A reader asks, how do you always have different research questions to ask in your weekly customer interviews? So let's break this apart a little bit. One thing I recommend in my book, Continuous Discovery Habits, is that product teams talk to customers every week. Now, here's the thing. You don't need to have different questions every week. So I teach story-based interviewing. This is where we're going to ask our customers to tell us a specific story about their recent experience. The type of story that I'm going to collect is going to be based on my outcome. It's the scope of what I'm trying to learn. So what kind of story should I collect, and does it change week to week? I would say for most teams, your story-based question doesn't change at all. You can ask the exact same question week over week. For example, when I'm interviewing my own customers, I run an online course business, I interview product people about their professional development. I can ask them, tell me about the last time you needed to learn something new to support your career. I can ask that question every single week. I'm going to get all types of stories. I'm going to learn about all sorts of resources, courses, books, Google searches, asking a colleague. It's going to help me understand how do people think about getting help when they have a need in their career. That's a very broad question. Now, I might want to ask a more specific question. I might want to ask something like, tell me about the last time you purchased an online course or webinar or workshop. That's going to get me narrower stories, but again, it's a question I can ask every single week. So we can play with the scope of our questions depending on how broad of stories we want to collect or how narrow our stories are. But as a general rule, your story-based question does not need to change very often. I'll give a couple more examples. I worked with a number of product teams at a marketing automation company. So a company that did email marketing, SMS. They built automation tools for email and SMS and mobile notifications marketing. They were interviewing marketing people who were using their platform. The vast majority of those teams could start their interview with a question, tell me about your last marketing campaign. Now, the part of the story you might be interested in is going to change based on what you work on. So, for example, if you're on a team that works on the reports for a marketing campaign, you don't have to collect all the detail around how they created the campaign. You're going to focus on the part of the story where they evaluated the campaign. On the other hand, if you're on a team that's focused on the editor where they're creating the campaign, you're going to focus on that part of the story. But both teams can ask the question, tell me about your last marketing campaign. And they can actually ask that question every single week of the quarter. Because the key with story-based interviewing is we're looking for a specific real-world instance, and then we're diving into the details. So we can fine-tune the details based on our area of focus, but our interview question is not changing very often. I hope that helps. Let me know in the comments below if you change your interview questions every week or if you're using the same story-based question. And if you're able to share your story-based question, I think it will help people to see a lot of examples.